world's leader in motorsports is pleased to welcome you to the famed Darlington Raceway in Darlington, South Carolina for today's NASCAR Busch Grand National Series Gatorade 200. They call it the granddaddy of all super speedways, built way back in 1950. But a lot has happened here since Johnny Mance won that first Southern 500 at a little over 75 miles per hour. Talk about close competition. Take a look at our current Busch Series point standings. Steve Grissom, who finished 7th last week, moving away a little bit in the points over David Green, who finished 29th. Robert Presley, Joe Nemechek, and Chuck Bound round out the top 5. 6 through 10, Ricky Craven, who's coming on. Ward Burton is 7th. Tom Peck, Todd Bodine, last week's winner, and Hermie Sadler, a rookie driver from Virginia, currently in the 10th spot. Hello, everyone. I'm Jerry Punch, and welcome to Darlington Raceway. We mentioned they've been racing here since 1950, but the Busch cars first came here in 1982. In 21 races, there have been 10 different winners, but not a single time has a Busch Grand National regular won this race in the fall. All Winston Cup regulars, all experienced drivers. Joining me as always, two-time NASCAR champion and the 1965 Southern 500 winner, Ned Jarrett. And Ned, why is it the young guys can't make it to victory lane here?
It's the racetrack, Jerry. It is tough to get around. Experience is the key to getting around this track. You know, they call it the track too tough to tame. They didn't just put that name on there just to have a nickname for it. It earned that name. They call it 4 turns around here. Most drivers will tell you there are at least 5 turns and maybe 6. None of them feel the same. You set the race car up to go through one turn, it doesn't go through the other one very well. So it's a matter of adjusting to going around this racetrack. And only a handful of drivers over the years have really gotten around this thing to where they feel comfortable at it. Certainly you look back to the days of Herb Thomas and Buck Baker and David Pearson before he retired, and Dale Earnhardt has won a lot of races here as well. But there are certainly a lot more drivers that have never conquered this racetrack than those that have. Now, our Benny Parsons managed to get around this track pretty well. He won here and sat on the pole as well, but don't know if he ever felt that he really had it conquered. But Benny, is it possible for a young driver to come along and feel that they have this thing conquered in just a race or two?
Dad, let's talk about me first. Remember, I'm the guy that crashed in turn 1 sitting on the pole in the very first lap, so I never got this racetrack figured out. Here's a young man, Ricky Craven, who may have it figured out as well as anyone. His 4th race on the pole. Ricky, how did you do it?
We had a good lap. The DuPont Chevrolet was good, of course. But, Benny, I got to thank David Pearson. He lent some help to a young driver from Newburgh, Maine last year, and I'll never forget it. And it was great advice.
What did he tell you?
Well, you know, the Silver Fox ran real good here. You know, you raced against him, of course. He just told me what it took him to win. And it was great advice, and I really, that's what my whole lap was all about.
And now I hear that you're going to go racing with your own team in 1994.
Yeah, you know, what's important is I want to bring this DuPont Chevrolet into victory lane. I want to do it for me, for the team, and especially for my owners. They've been good to me. I want to win for them before I leave, but I'm really excited about next year, my own program again, and, you know, hopefully prepare myself for Winston Cup in '95.
Well, there is a young man who has won a Busch Grand National driver, who has won a Busch Grand National race here at Darlington. He's with John Kernan.
Well, you know, Benny, Robert Presley has basically mastered Darlington. Robert, in the last 3 races, you've come away with 2 victories here. What's the secret? Why do you get around this place so well?
I don't think we get around here any better than anybody else. They're just worser than we are. You know, this place is wore out. It's a good, tough racetrack to race on. You know, whenever you really think you're beat, you just look around and everybody's behind you, and that gives you a little bit of incentive to keep going. But, you know, I really like this place. They say they're going to pave it after this week, but, boy, I hope they leave Darlington like it is.
The way you have run in the past, and you're right there in the points, so you got to look at this race right here as another stepping stone toward the top.
Yeah, this is going to be a big race here. If we can, you know, win or run second here and Steve has a little trouble, you know, we can gain 50, 60 points on him. We're right back in the hunt and, you know, racing from here on out.
Well, Robert Presley has given us some great runs here in the last couple of years. Jerry, he starts 12th today.
Indeed, John, he's won the last 2 spring races in a row, currently 3rd in the point standings, as you've seen, just 21 points behind David Green. Presley looking for win number 4 in 1993. Today's Speed World coverage is being brought to you by Gatorade Thirst Quencher. Nothing quenches that deep down body thirst than Gatorade. By new advanced high-tech formula Quaker State Motor Oil. It's formulated for today's high-tech engines. And by Allied Signals Fram filters. You can pay a little now or a lot later. And we welcome you back to Darlington Raceway here in Darlington, South Carolina. Take a look at the track, too tough to tame. 1.366 miles. A very tough racetrack. The pole speed 157.909 miles per hour. Race length 147 laps. Field separation 4.4 miles per hour. It's an egg-shaped oval, very tight and tapered in turns 1 and 2. A little more sweeping in 3 and 4. The turns in 1 and 2 are banked at 25 degrees. Remember that, because 3 and 4 is different. That's why Darlington is so tough. The backstretch 1,228 feet in length. Now turns 3 and 4 banked at 23 degrees, 2 degrees less than 1 and 2. You come out of turn 4 and head down that twist straightaway again, 1,228 feet. There are pits on both the front and back straightaways. Take a look at our starting grid. 42 cars strong, and once again getting his 4th career pole. You just heard from him, Ricky Craven, the young man from Newburgh, Maine. Not a track record, 157.909. Ward Burton brings the Hardy Chevrolet to the outside front row spot. Back to row 2, a pair of Fords. Mark Martin, who's been on a roll in both Winston Cup and Busch. He will start 3rd. Alongside him, Bill Elliott in the Budweiser Ford. Back to row 3, Joe Nemechek, last year's Busch Series national champion, and Jeff Burton, who's got a win this year already at Myrtle Beach. Back to row 4, Kenny Schrader brings his Chevrolet, and the 1990 Series champion, Chuck Bound. Row 5, Harry Gant, 4-time winner in Busch competition here, and Ed Barrier, not a regular, but he runs awfully well at this racetrack. Row 6 is Sterling Marlin, and there's Robert Presley. 2 times in a row he's won here in the spring. Row 7, last week's winner, Todd Bodine, the Fiddle Faddle Chevrolet, and Rodney Combs. He is getting better week after week in his Ford. Rick Wilson brings the Charlie Henderson-owned Chevrolet inside of row 8, and Chad Little, former Winston Cup competitor, has the Bayer Select Ford in 16th spot. Take a look at the rest of our starting lineup, Ned. Some pretty good cars starting back in the pack.
Well, Michael Waltrip, a winner here at Darlington in the past in the Busch Series, starting back there in the 9th row. And Dale Earnhardt, you can see how far back he's starting, so we'll keep an eye on those guys. And there's the point leader, Steve Grissom, pretty far back in the field as well.
Some talented young drivers, Robert Huffman in row 14. Jimmy Spencer, Winston Cup competitor, inside row 16. Roy Payne, former ARCA Rookie of the Year, alongside Mike Wallace in row 18. Tommy Houston, the veteran competitor, led 60-some laps last week at Bristol, Tennessee. Shauna Robinson and Richard Lassiter bringing up row 21. In-car cameras today. He's got a glimpse there from Mark Martin's Winn-Dixie camera. Will also be aboard the Pennzoil Pontiac with the Gatorade cam as they wave the green flag up top. Carl Simmons and Mike Harwood. 147 laps at this demanding racetrack here in Darlington.
Ward Burton got a little bit of a jump on Ricky Craven coming off from turn 2 there and is taking the lead.
Hardy Chevrolet driver Ward Burton. He is one of 5 cars on Hoosier tires today. 37 starters are on the Goodyear Eagles, 5 on Hoosiers, and Ward Burton is leading with the challenges for 2nd spot.
Mark Martin in the Winn-Dixie Ford down on the inside. There's Joe Nemechek. He had a notion to make it 3 deep, but he said that would be smart early in the race.
Ricky Craven, the DuPont finishes Chevrolet, our pole setter, trying to hold Martin off for 2nd, but they come off turn 2.
And here comes Nemechek. He's got a run on Martin, but he decided to pull up behind him, and it might have cost him. He backed off, and that'll let Craven get back in line.
Martin takes 2nd spot. Craven is 3rd. Riding aboard was Michael Waltrip, the Gatorade in-car camera in his Pennzoil Pontiac. Michael, the defending winner of the Gatorade 200, won this race a year ago.
And he's staring at Robert Presley.
He's currently in 14th spot. Not exactly impressive, right in front of him in 13th.
You can see how narrow that track is as they come off of turn 4. Michael Waltrip in the yellow car. We were just talking about him. Still following the Robert Presley car.
Good crowd on hand. Beautiful day for racing as we have heavy impact here. Shauna Robinson, one of the cars involved, the Captiva Polaroid car. Richard Lassiter, Roy Payne, the car number 27. And Lassiter's High Point Betting Chevrolet heavy impact for the Arkansas driver. And here's the agency rent-a-car, number 27 of Roy Payne, the former ARCA Rookie of the Year.
And Tom Peck was involved as well, Jerry. He's coming on around the racetrack. He might not have too much damage, but boy, this Roy Payne car, you can see there is a lot of damage to his car.
Tough break for Roy Payne, the 25-year-old Alvin, Texas driver. Again, here's what happened.
Well, there was one car down on the inside that spun sideways. That's the car number 79. It looks like a Dave Resendez. And he's down out of the groove of the racetrack. And then you see someone put their brakes on, somebody else jammed into them, and that started the chain reaction. There's just not any place to go. Once something happens in front of you, if they stay up in the banking, there's nowhere to go. And normally there are more than one car get involved in the wreck.
So at least 4 cars involved. Let's check in with John Kernan.
Well, guys, this early caution is beneficial to the teams running the Hoosier tires, including Ward Burton. And talking with Ward, the tires just literally are worn out after only 30 to 35 laps of green flag at speed racing. Now, you figure they're limited to 8 tires. That's 2 sets. That means they can change tires twice during the race, which means they need to get 49 laps out of each set of tires. That's about 14 to 15 laps more than what these tires have been showing. So they need a lot of cautions and a lot of yellow flag laps.
And Bill Elliott's in the pits, John, for his unscheduled stop. That's the Budweiser Ford, not the car owned by Junior Johnson. This car is owned by Charles Hardy. It's called the Hardy Boys Racing Effort out of Dahlonega, Georgia. Gene Roberts is the crew chief. It's a Jim Ruggles engine. There's a look at the 37-year-old veteran, Bill Elliott.
Boy, he has given up a lot of track position as we take another look at the wreck, Jerry. And Dave Resendez had spun down way ahead of the big crash here. As I'm sure that someone put their brakes on. They saw Resendez spinning, and they put the brakes on, and somebody behind them didn't realize they were slowing down, and it just caused a chain reaction type deal.
So the cars involved in the first caution flag, Resendez, car number 27. There's one car on pit road, that's Tom Peck. He was involved. Richard Lassiter, and car number 35 of Shauna Robinson. We're under the caution flag for the first time today here at Darlington Raceway. Beautiful sunshine in central South Carolina. Back with more NASCAR Busch Racing, the Gatorade 200. After this, stay with us. Track Packs are brought to you by new advanced high-tech formula Quaker State Motor Oil. It's formulated for today's high-tech engines.
A lot of us have taken our cars down to the corner gas station and checked the air in the tires and taken this valve cap off, and sometimes we stick it back on, sometimes we even throw it away. But in racing, that's not the case. This is a valve stem on a race car. This is a valve cap. This is a steel cap complete with a rubber O-ring inside of it. And centrifugal force of these race cars traveling at 200 miles an hour, believe it or not, will push this little spring in there, and the valve will lose air. So the guys have got to put this cap on, screw it down tight, even take a wrench and tighten the thing down to make sure that air does not leak from the valve. When you look at all these tires, they all have the valve caps on because they can lose air without them.
Thank you very much, Benny. And certainly that's a very minor detail, Ned, but those little valve caps can cost you a race.
Oh, they certainly can. And it has happened. I'm not sure it cost a race, but it's cost some in the past a lot of valuable time, extra pit stops. Okay, the green flag is waving. We're going racing again.
And Ward Burton's Hardy Chevrolet will lead Mark Martin, Ricky Craven, and Joe Nemechek toward turn 1.
Ward Burton had moved out to a big lead there earlier as Mark Martin and Ricky Craven raced side by side. Let's see what Mark Martin can do now. He's back up with him.
And that's a remote camera you're watching there mounted on the wall in turn 2. It's operated by remote control. We use it in hockey and other sports in ESPN, trying in auto racing as it scans by as the cars come by. Cars coming at you right now over 140 miles an hour. 3 wide down the front straightaway. That's Dale Earnhardt. Who else would you expect to go downstairs at Darlington and not be a bit afraid as Earnhardt now moves inside of one car?
Well, Steve Christian had pulled on the inside of Earnhardt there for just a moment, but he said that wouldn't be too smart. And it looks like up front there, Ricky Craven going backwards a little bit again as Jeff Burton gets by in the Babe Ruth car, and Mark Martin has taken over the lead.
Winn-Dixie Ford Thunderbird. Martin, the three-time winner in Busch competition in 1993. Takes the lead from Ward Burton. Ford leads away. Martin wiggles a little bit going into turn one. Burton's Hardee's Chevrolet in second spot. Here comes the defending series champion, Joe Nemechek, with NT Chevy, back in third position.
Nemechek has been running strong lately in the Denteen Chevrolet, Jerry. Has shown the form that brought him the championship last year. Had some tough luck in the first half of the year, but he has been running good in recent races.
Looking out the back window with the Winn-Dixie Ford Thunderbird of Mark Martin. You're right about Nemechek, Ned. He has 2 second-place finishes in a row at New Hampshire and last week at Bristol, Tennessee. You got that shot of his mom, Martha Nemechek, trying to cheer him on to victory. Just couldn't quite do it as she was bouncing up and down on the wall and cheering her son. Right now, he's holding down third spot.
And here's Harry Gant making a pass on Ricky Craven down on the inside. Ken Schrader comes up in the car number 52 as well. Craven's car doesn't appear to be handling the way that it needs to be to stay up there with those front runners.
Remember, Harry Gant, the winningest driver overall in Busch Series competition, 4 wins in just 21 races here at Darlington. He's won more than anyone else, and he's making a move right now. Nemechek holding on to his spot as you're watching the battle back in the pack. Let's check in downstairs with John Kernan. John?
You know, Jerry, yesterday morning I was talking to Joe Nemechek, and I asked him if the pressure to defend his Busch Grand National title was starting to really weigh heavily on his shoulders. He said, there's no pressure to defend my title. He said, the pressure right now on this team is to win a race, and that's the type of effort that they're going to put in until that moment finally occurs. As you mentioned, 2 second-place finishes in the last 2 races. Now let's go down pit road to Benny Parsons and something on Ricky Craven.
Well, Ned Jarrett mentioned that Ricky Craven was dropping back, and he certainly is. He's back out of the top 5. I asked Rick Rand, who's filling in as crew chief this week, if he had a problem. He said the car is just a little bit too tight. It's pushing. They're going to wait, adjust the car on the pit stop. He should be okay.
And Ricky Craven showing in 6th position. Right behind him is Ken Schrader in the car number 52. That's the Marima Incorporated Chevrolet, a collectibles company sponsoring Schrader here. Right behind them is the Ice Cappuccino car, Capio's machine. Fred Turner owns. Sterling Marlin driving that car, and then Robert Presley. And now you're riding aboard the Pennzoil Pontiac, the Gatorade in-car camera. Right behind Robert Presley is the defending champion of this Gatorade 200, Michael Waltrip.
Michael being shown in the 10th position at the moment.
Presley looking to the inside. Let's take a look at our field summary showing you where your favorite driver is running. Harry Gant now moved into 5th position. See Ken Schrader just slide by Ricky Craven. Steve Grissom started way back in 23rd spot, now moving to 15th.
There's some cars in that group right there that are faster than some of them in front of them. Of course, Schrader just went by the 99 car of Ricky Craven, and Craven might have been holding him up just a little bit with that front end pushing on his car. We'll see if Sterling Marlin can make the pass. There's Robert Preston now. He got a good run off of turn 4. Gets a nose down inside of Marlin. He's going to take the position.
That's 8th spot that Presley will take away. Schrader is 6th, Craven is 7th, and a battle now for 2nd position. Joe Nemechek trying to take...
And a spin over off turn 2. Is it the Chuck Bound car? Yes, it is. Chuck Bound spinning around. Don't think he has hit anything yet. Caution is out.
What a great job Chuck Bound did. The Portland, Oregon 1990 national champion for Busch competition did with that Nescafe Nestea Chevrolet. Came off of turn 2. There's a look at Chuck.
I saw his father-in-law, Herschel McGriff, down in the garage area this morning, all the way here from out in Oregon to see his son-in-law run, and I'm sure that Chuck didn't want to do it this way. There you see the car spinning around. The Nescafe Nestea Pontiac. Is that a Pontiac he's running here or a Chevrolet?
Chevrolet.
He sort of mixes it up. He runs Chevrolet on the big tracks and Pontiacs on the short tracks, I guess.
And another angle from looking at it from our turn 3 camera across the back straightaway pit wall. He brought it right down. Oncoming traffic looped it around Joey Chitwood style and puts it back in gear and drives away. But the caution flag has been shown for the 2nd time today due to that spin off of turn 2. Lap number 21.
You know, I mentioned Herschel McGriff, Jerry. He ran in the very first Southern 500 that you mentioned at the top of the show, and the guy is still racing and still winning. Amazing guy.
And he hasn't aged a bit. Under caution for the 2nd time today as the caution flag being shown in the field to do a spin off turn 2 from Chuck Bound. Back with more from Darlington, pit stops and all, after this. Back at Darlington Raceway, a lot of action coming your way tonight. CFA, primetime Saturday. John Makovic takes his Longhorns on a buffalo hunt in Boulder, Colorado. Ron Franklin, Mike Gottfried, and Adrian Carson will be on hand for our live CFA coverage. Texas versus Colorado coming up tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Let's go to the pits and Benny Parsons.
Jerry, they're just completing a 4-tire change on the Nescafe Pontiac driven by Chuck Bound. The left front tire was flat as a result of the spin over there, and I talked to one of the crew members. They said Chuck Bound said he was tapped in the rear, and that's what's caused the spin. Car is done. I don't really see any damage whatsoever. They've changed 4 tires. He's back out, and the signal 1 to go. We're going back racing.
Pretty good pit stop. He did not lose a lap there. He came on pit road, changed tires, and they get the signal 1 to go. As the field approaches turn 1, Bound is coming back up to speed there on the apron between turns 1 and 2. That's the man who leads the way right now, the Winn-Dixie Ford Thunderbird for Mark Martin. 3 times he's been to victory lane in 1993, Rockingham, Richmond, and the last time he won, you saw it right here on ESPN up in Michigan back in the early part of August.
Well, Mark Martin personally has 4 victories in a row. That win you just spoke of in Michigan, and of course he has won 3 NASCAR Winston Cup events in a row, so going for 5.
And Michael Waltrip, very successful in Busch competition, still looking for the first Winston Cup victory. He has 7 wins in Busch Grand National competition. He sits awfully close to the wheel, but he's a big guy anyway.
Well, he is. Some drivers sit closer than others. They feel that they get a little bit more leverage that way. I personally sat much farther back. Maybe that's the reason I didn't do any better than I did. I had my arms stretched out too far. Maybe I should have sat a little bit closer up to the steering wheel.
Well, you were awful tough, though. I tell you, here's the Nescafe Nesty Chevrolet coming back down pit road. They made an adjustment on that car.
Let's go to the pits quickly.
Well, as they get ready to go back to green, Rodney Combs came in, changed left side tires. He's one of the teams on Hoosier tires. Mark Martin leads them to the green flag with Joe Nemechek second, Ward Burton third. Ward's also on Hoosier tires. They start out with 4/30 seconds of tread. The left front tire had already lost 1/32 of tread, but the left rear tire halfway worn out after only 20-some laps. They lost 2/32 of tread on those left side tires on those Hoosiers.
Here's a battle among Winston Cup drivers as Rick Wilson is down on the inside of Dale Earnhardt. I should say Earnhardt got on the outside of Wilson in turns 1 and 2 and now finally makes the pass. That 23 car was Chad Little, but here comes Steve Grissom. The point leader is on the go, Jerry.
That's 11th, 12th, and 13th. Grissom, who started way back in 23rd spot. The current Busch Series point leader, the Channel Lock Chevrolet, and Grissom is coming in a hurry. Battle behind Grissom, Chad Little, and one of the cars involved. Beside him, Tracy Leslie, the winner of an Indianapolis Raceway car.
Ooh, boy, they come off that turn, get awfully close to the wall.
Tracy Leslie's Detroit Gasket car number 72 now moves beneath Chad Little, and now Randy LaJoy in the Fina Loop. Car number 20, the Dick Moroso owned car, trying to take the spot away.
And the car number 22 now, Ed Barrier coming down the inside with a sponsor here today. First time that has that sponsor on the car. That's the Embers Charcoal Oldsmobile.
The Burton brothers battling up front. Ward Burton, the older of the two, in the car number 2, the Hardy Chevrolet. Behind him, the Baby Ruth Ford of Jeff Burton. They're battling for 3rd and 4th position behind Joe Nemechek and Mark Martin, who was our leader.
Nemechek hanging with Martin there as we see him come by our speed shot off turn 4. And here's Robert Presley on the move. He just picked them off 1 at a time. He goes by Ricky Craven.
Ned Presley qualified 12th, but he was awfully strong in practice as you watch Jeff Burton now move around Ward Burton. Now you heard John Kernan mention the Hoosier tires. The car number 2, the Hardy's car, is on Hoosiers. And there was a lot of concern among some of the Hoosier drivers that the left side tires would give up and show a lot of wear. As Burton now, Ward Burton beginning to fade, as both Jeff Burton and Harry Gann have moved by. Let's check in with John Kernan.
Jerry, the car, Ward Burton's car, is very, very loose. They've told him to back it down, back off the pace a little bit to try and save the tires so they can make it to that 49 lap Mark, before they put on a fresh set of tires. They were very interested. They're pitted right next to Rodney Combs, and they were very interested to find out from the Hoosier Tire representative exactly what the wear was. And like we said, that left rear tire halfway worn out after only 20 laps, and that was only about 15 green flag laps. And now caution's coming out.
Caution for the third time today here at Darlington being waved by Carl Simmons, a NASCAR Busch Series flagman. Debris down at turn 1. That's they were just pointing down toward turn 1. And as NASCAR, they have spotters all around the racetrack and little towers who are able to watch every couple hundred yards of the track and look for debris to come off the cars. So if you see some debris here at Darlington, you don't want to take any chances. You don't want to take a chance on a piece of debris even out of the groove, blowing up into the groove and possibly causing a problem.
And the problem that it can cause is a cut tire. It doesn't take much, Jerry. As thin as the rubber is on these tires, a piece of metal can cut in them very easily, and certainly running the speeds they run into these turns, you do not want that to happen. As the official goes out, the safety crew goes out and picks that debris up.
And while we're under caution, we'll take a quick break from here in Darlington and come back and bring you all the green flag racing action of today's Gatorade 200. 28 of 147 laps complete. Back in a moment. Back in Darlington, South Carolina, racing action coming your way tomorrow. How about 1 p.m. Eastern time? The 43rd annual Mountain Dew Southern 500 live flag-to-flag coverage. Yep, Dale Earnhardt, the Intimidator, an 8-time winner here at Darlington. The defending champion of that race, Darrell Waltrip. Old DW, the 3-time Winston Cup champion, will be involved. All the action coming up at 1 p.m. tomorrow. Beautiful weather today for racing as they have a good crowd on hand here at Darlington, Ed.
They do have a good crowd, and it's a great day for racing. A little hot down there, though, and that's going to take its toll on the tires here this afternoon. Robert Presley mentioned that it's wore out. What he means, the pavement is pretty well worn here, and it does grind the rubber off the tires.
And Presley has now moved to 7th position from his 12th starting spot as they wave the green once again. We'll see now if Joe Nemechek can hang on at lap 31 to the rear deck of the Winn-Dixie Ford, Mark Martin.
And there's a side-by-side battle with Michael Waltrip. Got a good run on Robert Presley, but couldn't quite pull off the pace.
Up front, Nemechek in the Dentine Chevrolet. Mark Martin, who's been the hot man in Winston Cup and Busch competition. Looking back out the window there at Mark Martin's car.
Well, to the man in the garage area this morning, Jerry, they all said Mark Martin is the guy we got to beat here this afternoon. They knew he was fast in practice. He qualified 3rd, but it didn't take him long to get to the front. And I wonder, is he running as hard as that Winn-Dixie Ford will go, or is he just sort of keeping Joe Nemechek at bay and running just hard enough to do that?
Black flagging the car number 22. We're told Ed Barrier, the Embers Charcoal Oldsmobile. Ed's 6th start in 1993. His 181st Busch Series start. Tough break for Barrier, who'd been running better and better. Would like to get a full-time ride in Busch competition. Here's a good battle. Todd Bodine, last week's winner. Behind him is Earnhardt. Then comes Craven. And Rick Wilson bobbing and weaving back there in the Charlie Henderson car.
He thought he had an opening, but couldn't quite make it coming off the turn 4, so he had to duck back in line. Todd Bodine in the 10th position. Earnhardt now up to 11th from where he started back in 21st position. So he has gained 10 positions so far. There's Wilson now. He's got to run this time coming off the turn 4. And I believe he's going to make it. But look at Grissom. He wants to make it 3 deep going down into the turn.
And he does it as contact between Craven and Rick Wilson. And both those drivers hang on. Craven backs out a little bit. He's involved in the points battle. Tracy Leslie takes advantage and will take the spot away. But how about Steve Grissom, our point leader? You think he's chasing points, man, or he wants to win a race?
That was a gutsy move for a man who is trying to win the championship. But if you talk to Steve Grissom, he'll tell you, I want to win races. The points will come. He said, my goal is not to win the championship. It is to win races. Well, it looked like it, the way he was making that move.
That's Earnhardt in the car number 3. Behind him is the car number 2, the Hardee's Chevrolet, continuing to fade somewhat. Ward Burton after a good qualifying effort. Here's Kenny Schrader in the car number 52, going by Michael Waltrip. Waltrip, the Pennzoil Pontiac, and right beside him comes last week's winner, Todd Bodine.
And Waltrip had just passed Kenny going into turn 1, slid up a little bit. Schrader got back under him, but now Todd Bodine gets around Michael, so he really got off the pace there just a little bit, not much, but enough that they got by.
And a battle for second beginning to heat up a little bit. It's Jeff Burton, the Baby Ruth Ford. Phil Martassione car. Gil Martin, the crew chief on that machine, as he's beginning to reel in now Joe Nemechek. Mark Martin has pulled away to about a 7 or 8 car length advantage over Nemechek. And one car is slowing. That is Dale Earnhardt in the Goodwrench Chevrolet. Earnhardt feeling very comfortable that the jack tent engine in this car would be strong enough to bring him toward the front, and he was making a move, but now he slows very slowly heading down the turn 1. And apparently some moisture coming out, some of the overflow in the rear of the car. There's some water coming out of the car. There's a look at Earnhardt, the winningest driver in Busch competition on a super speedway, 16 career wins. Earnhardt heads for the pits, and look at this battle on the racetrack. Jeff Burton's Baby Ruth Ford, whoa, trying to sneak by Joe Nemechek and will take the spot in turn 1.
Well, there just isn't much room. You make that move and you hope that you can get the car back in line before you get to that turn. Sometimes you gamble a little bit. John Kernan, what's the problem on Earnhardt's car?
Well, he has radioed in and told Tony Uri, his crew chief, right there that he's got a transmission problem, an apparent transmission problem, so they'll pull it onto pit road. They're pitting on the backstretch pits, and they'll try and check it out, see if they can get it fixed, and see if they can get Earnhardt back out in the race.
Here's the battle. Rick Wilson and Tracy Leslie as they continue to work on the Earnhardt car. The backstretch caution is being shown once again for a car spinning off the racetrack. That's the car number 84 that's spinning up on. That's Robert Powell out of Moncks Corner, South Carolina, the 1989 Winston Racing Series national champion. What a nice young man he is. Doesn't race very often in Busch competition. His dad Charles on Somerville Speedway down in South Carolina. Here again is Robert Powell trying to bring the North American Racing Insurance Chevrolet back to the pits. Car sponsored by George England out of Kansas City. Again, here's what happened to Robert Powell.
I think he and the car number 39 of Robert Huffman maybe touched a little bit as he came around the turn there, and it got Powell out of shape. He spins down to the inside. It doesn't look like he hit anything down on the inside, Jerry, so he should be able to continue.
There's Robert Powell. Now, he drove Dale Jarrett's Busch car a couple of years ago, and he had 5 top 10 finishes, including a third-place run at Lanier Raceway. I'm told he just runs whenever he can afford to race. He finished 15th at Charlotte a year ago in a Busch Grand National event. Would like to have a full-time ride. Pit stops become the order of the day as the front 3 or now 4 cars will head down pit road. Here on lap number 39, Mark Martin, Jeff Burton, Joe Nemechek, Harry Gant, Robert Presley, Todd Bodine, Michael Waltrip. They all head down pit road at 55 miles per hour for the first pit stop for the leaders here under the 4th caution of the day. Let's check in with Benny Parsons.
Mark Martin has brought the Winn-Dixie Ford in. You see Steve Mills still standing on the toolbox. You can't see it. Believe me, folks, he's there. Tony Liberato is changing the right rear, the left rear of the car. They're getting some experience on the rear tire chamber, so Steve will not have to do it too much longer. The left sides are being changed. The left side's being changed on the 8 car. Tony's going on the left rear right now. He's tightening it up. Meanwhile, they're putting the left rear on the 8 car. Mark Martin drives away. Here comes Harry Gant down pit road. Let's see the next car. That will be Michael Waltrip. And now Jeff Burton gets the Baby Ruth car moving. He goes down pit road. But meanwhile, he and Todd go down almost flying as they go down pit road.
Well, there's another part of the experience, gentlemen, and the experience in the pits pays off. When you got a Winston Cup team that does it every Sunday, hitting 4 tires, as we see some others coming in on the backstretch making their pit stops, and they get them out just a little bit quicker. That gives you better track position.
That's the car number 10, Jimmy Spencer, coming out on the back pitch. You see Randall LaJoy coming out. And the car number 14, that is Terry Labonte coming in as pit stops continue. Let's check in with John Kernan.
Well, Michael Waltrip was in for 4 tires, and it looked like it was going to be a really fast pit stop, but they had a little problem with the lug nut on the left rear. They didn't make any chassis adjustments. And Ward Burton also came in, took on 4 tires, and Mark Martin is now headed down pit road toward Benny Parsons.
He can't see. Mark Martin cannot see. They tried to clean the windshield, and they made a mess of it. He had some oil or something on the windshield, and whatever they used just smeared it. He could not even find his bit as he came down pit road. Meanwhile, Steve Neal has some glass cleaner. He is cleaning, trying to get the oil off his car. We'll have to talk to Steve and find out where that oil came from. John Kernan, back to you with Ward Burton.
Well, Benny, it was a 4-tire change for Ward Burton. As I said, they did make a chassis adjustment. They tried to tighten it up. Ward, while he was in, took a deep breath and on the radio told Freddie Fryer, his crew chief, I am holding on for life.
Boy, Ward Burton, they have struggled the past few weeks. 24th, 25th, and 24th. Their last 3 races, they certainly don't want to have any more poor finishes if you're going to stay in the points battle. We're under caution for the 4th time today here at Darlington Raceway. Lap 41 in the Hardy Chevrolet. Let's check in the pits once again. Benny?
Steve Neal, the crew chief on the Winn-Dixie car. Where did that grease come on the windshield?
I don't know. They've had some caution. Kind of been unexplained, like maybe cars were leaking or something. Got a Lexan windshield in. Our regular cleaning job didn't work. We come back and got him cleaned up. He should be okay. Got a long way to go. There's something on the racetrack somewhere.
You just kill the track position. Just kill your track position.
Yeah, it hurt real bad. You know, it's a problem, but he couldn't see, so he had to come work on it. We'll be all right.
At 150 miles an hour, yeah, I'd want to see.
Well, Benny, one thing that'll do is to make this a more exciting race.
I guarantee you, when we come back, we'll have Mark Martin knifing his way from the rear toward the front. Back with more from Darlington Raceway in the Gatorade 200 after this. Back at Darlington Raceway, the green flag just now being displayed, and you're riding with Mark Martin as you see the field come thundering by. Ken Schrader in a Chevrolet will lead him into turn 1. Joe Nemechek trying to make a move. There is Schrader in the car number 52.
Nemechek lost a few positions during that pit stop period, but he was one of the fastest cars on the track. Look, here's Harry Gant going around Chad Little, taking over 2nd position. Harry had a real good pit stop. Now he wants to lead. He's going to get it.
Harry Gant at his 12th start in Busch competition in 1993 takes the lead. Here's Michael Waltrip and Robert Presley, 3 wide. Presley all the way down on the apron in 1, and Waltrip takes the spot as they slide by the Chad Little machine. What a move by Robert Presley and Michael Waltrip, and it's not over yet.
Gary, one thing, Kenny Schrader in car number 52 and Chad Little, neither of them stopped. So their tires are pretty old on those race cars, and I'll tell you, that makes a great difference here in the speed.
And they're dicing it up for 4th and 5th. Here's Martin coming. Goes around the Bobby Dotter car. What a week Dotter has had. 2 consecutive 3rd place finishes the past 2 outings with heavy traffic. Joe Bessie, his Auto Palace Chevrolet is back there, and Mark Martin goes to the high side around him. And up front, once again, here's Robert Presley and Michael Waltrip as they slide by Ken Schrader and will take the 2nd spot away.
So those old tires on Schrader's car just not working for him. Those cars just move away at will. Harry Gant has moved out to a pretty good lead while they jockey back and forth back there in 4th position.
All right, speaking of moving away, you're watching the 2nd and 3rd place cars there, but Harry Gant has said see you. Joe Nemechek now goes by Schrader, will take the 4th position away. Kenny Schrader holds on to 5th spot. And look at Mark Martin as he tries to move to the inside of Tom Peck's Delco Remy Chevrolet, Carol Lebanon car. Martin trying to pick and choose at places to pass. Got to be patient if he is. As he moves to the inside now, the Tom Peck car coming out of turn 4. There's the Winn-Dixie Ford. Remember, he made a 2nd pit stop and just joined us to get the windshield clean. Couldn't see at 150 miles an hour. That's got to be a little bit of a liability.
Here's the car number 10, the Jack Ingram owned car being driven by Jimmy Spencer. Slow on the racetrack, and Michael Waltrip making a challenge now on Robert Presley.
Presley just drives it deep in the corners all the way up against the wall. Just a couple of feet away as you're watching from aboard Michael Waltrip's Gatorade in-car Kansas. Michael in the Pennzoil Pontiac. See the car vibrating as it comes off turn 4, and they head back into turns 1 and 2. Second and third, the Alliance Training Center Chevrolet. Ricky Pearson prepared car behind them. Michael Waltrip, defending champion of the Gatorade Gatorade 200 here at Darlington. You don't see Harry Gant in your picture because Harry has moved away quite a bit. Take a look at our driver snapshot. Robert Presley started 12th, currently in second spot. His highest position thus far in the race. His lowest was 14th, and he has yet to lead. How about Michael Waltrip? He started 17th, currently in third. On lap 47, he was back in 17th at the beginning of the race and has not led a lap as yet either.
And Jerry, after this restart, when Mark Martin came in, there are 34 cars still in the lead lap, and Mark Martin had to go to the tail end of that lead lap, but now he has worked himself back up into the top 20, still on the move.
We told you a minute ago, Mark Martin had to make a second pit stop for oil all over the windshield. And Benny, how'd they get it off?
Hey guys, normally they just use regular ammonia and water mixed up. They mix it in a pan, take a squeegee, and wet it and clean the windshield. But they decided they would get a professionally mixed window cleaner. This is a window cleaner that you buy. You just pour it in the jar. It's already mixed. The first time they've ever used it. Guess they're going back to the ammonia and water, don't you?
I would imagine. Yep, they'll go back with what worked for them before.
Indeed, you're watching a pretty good battle for second and third. Robert Presley. And here's Mark Martin. They know he's coming as he slides beneath Chad Little. Ward Burton behind him in the Hardy Chevrolet trying to make a move beneath as well. But Mark Martin now moves. That's Jimmy Bound in the car number 98. Chuck Mound's younger brother. As they both go by with, I think, that's the Ken Schrader car.
That's the 14th position he's running at now, Jerry. So he has picked off about 20 cars since the green flag dropped.
The Fuel Oil Company car in front, that's Jim Bound. He had Lux Foods on the car last week in Bristol, Tennessee. Limited sponsorship for Jimmy Bound. What a job he has done with absolutely no sponsorship and no support. The young man from Portland, Oregon, and now Mark Martin moves on the inside of his Chevrolet. Pretty well, man.
Yes, he is. He's running good. He's a good, hard racer. It'd be interesting to see what he could do if he had good sponsorship so that he could have absolute first-class equipment, not taking away from what he and his dad have put together, Dick Bound have put together here, but still they don't have the sponsorship money that many of these teams have, and they have done a good job at it.
That's where Mark Martin is currently back in 13th, but back up front, Harry Gant is showing the way as Robert Presley is second. Michael Waltrip is third. That yellow car just flashing by on your screen, that was the Frisch's Mustard Ed Whitaker car, and Harry Gant. But the battle here is Presley and Waltrip.
And they're beginning to gain on Harry a little bit, Jerry. He had jumped out to a good lead while they were battling, trying to get up to second to third as we get a field summary here. See, Schrader's dropped all the way back to 15 on those school tires. And it looked like Robert Presley might have been getting a little bit of a signal to Michael Waltrip there. Probably waving, not to go by, I don't know.
Waving with his hand as Joe Nemechek is now catching that twosome in second and third. Nemechek is the red car, the Dentine sponsor car. There you see Nemechek coming into your picture. He has cut the margin in half in the past 3 laps. As these two have been dicing for second and third, Michael Waltrip looks in his rearview mirror and he sees a big Chevrolet Lumina coming after him. Right there is Joe Nemechek.
And Michael takes a look on the inside. He's going to make the pass going into 3. Now let's see if he slides up and Robert Presley come back under. Nope. Robert decided not to try to do that. That would have been an Earnhardt move if he had done that, but he didn't do it. That's the way Earnhardt likes to pass. Somebody pass him on the inside going into 3, they slide up and he drives right under.
Robert Presley's car not handling nearly as well as it was earlier. Not being able to drive the car down into the corners. As Bill Elliott is back on pit road once again in the Budweiser Ford Thunderbird. That's the winner earlier this year at Watkins Glen back in June. He won his first Busch Series event. Gene Roberts and the crew, the Hardy Boys racing efforts, has changed of position once again. Joe Nemechek slides up and takes a spot away from Robert Presley. That would be the 3rd position.
So Presley goes back to 4th, and there's the 5th place car of Todd Bodine now coming into the picture. He also is on Robert Presley.
57 laps complete of 147, which comprised the $193,000 Gatorade 200, coming to you from right here in Darlington, South Carolina. Action everywhere here at Darlington. Glad to have you with us. Benny Parsons, John Kernan, Ned Jarrett, and yours truly, Jerry Punch, as we're bringing you the Gatorade 200 Busch Grand National event. Randy LaJoy with Dick Moroso. Pino Loop sponsor car number 20 moves by the car number 8 of Jeff Burton. That would be for the 7th and 8th position.
Burton was one of the fastest cars on the track before the caution, Jerry. But now he, like Robert Presley, that set of tires he put on just doesn't seem to be as good as the set they had before.
Got to give a call to Randy LaJoy in the car number 20. Starting only his 3rd Busch race. He finished 2nd in his first start at Talladega. Here's the man they're chasing, the ageless wonder, they call him, Handsome Harry from Taylorsville, North Carolina, 53 years of age. And last lap, he's getting it done at 147.6. But Michael Waltrip and Robert Presley are ever so closely starting to move in.
Yeah, Joe Nemechek, they're right there in 3rd place. And here's Mark Martin, who is still coming up through the pack in the car number 60, the Winn-Dixie car. He now has moved, up to 10th place?
Being shown in 10th position, he's running lap speeds about a half a mile an hour faster than what we just clocked Harry Gant a minute ago. Gant was 147.6, Martin 148.3. As Gant now being reeled in by the 2nd and 3rd place cars, Michael Waltrip and Joe Nemechek.
And Robert Presley still going backwards as Randy LaJoy comes up on him. Randy got beside him. Look how he comes off of the turn. Robert's car just simply not sticking in the turns, and LaJoy gets a run on him again, gets on the inside this time, and he'll make the pass, and that'll put him up into the, 6th position?
6th position. Back up front, 3 cars, nose to tail, as Michael Waltrip will take a look to the inside in turn 1, and Nemechek will try to go with him. Just gets backed off, and we have a change up front. Waltrip now our leader. Joe Nemechek in 2nd spot. And hello, Joe, as he brings that big lumen up and the rear bumper, the Pennzoil Pontiac. Let's check in with John Kernan.
Well, guys, Harry Gant's car is really, really loose right now, but that's not the main problem. A lot of these guys are complaining that their cars are loose because of tire wear. What has happened with Harry, the shifter, the gear shifter, has just fallen off and is now lying over in the floorboard. It's not a problem right now for Harry, but whenever they have to pit, it's going to be quite a problem. They'll have to replace that shifter, so Harry will probably spend a lot of time on pit road under the next caution period.
And you heard that comment on Harry Gant. You saw Joe Nemechek take the lead from Michael Waltrip, the 1992 Busch Grand National Series champion. You heard Ned mention earlier, Nemechek really coming on. A pair of runner-up finishes the past 2 Busch starts at New Hampshire and Bristol. And he finished 2nd to Bristol. Todd Bodine, who's driving the 34, now makes the move inside of Harry Gant and will take the spot away.
So Gant went from 1st to 4th here in about 3 laps.
And Tracy Leslie in the car number 72, the winner earlier at Indianapolis Raceway Park. But you're riding with Mark Martin, who waves goodbye to Robert Presley and Tracy Leslie.
Boy, he just drove right on around.
Sets his sights on Jeff Burton in the car number 8, the Baby Ruth Ford.
And Ward Burton, Jeff's brother, is in the pits in the Hardee's car. John Kernan is there.
They will change right side tires. Just a lap ago, Ward radioed in and told his crew chief, Freddie Fryer, that he thought he had a right rear tire going down. So they'll finish now there will also be a 4 tire change. They'll come around to the left side. So apparently they weren't quite sure exactly which tire was flat, but they'll have to check out all 4 tires now going to work on the left side of the car, losing valuable time sitting here on pit road.
And of course that car right in front of him is Sterling Marlin with the hood up on his car. So Ward Burton gets his service now and heads back out on the track. Sterling Marlin still in the pits. And Mark Martin just went around the Jeff Burton car. Move up another position.
Marlin, the Capio Ice Cappuccino car, as we watch that battle now heating up for 2nd position. Michael Waltrip in the Pennzoil Pontiac and Todd Bodine. Let's check in, John. Now, what's wrong with Sterling Marlin?
They've had a problem earlier in the day with fuel pressure. Now, what has happened now, a plug wire has come off. Sterling had thought he had lost a cylinder. Well, now he pulls in. They took the air cleaner off and discovered that one of the plug wires had come off the distributor. Something I've never heard of before, but that was the problem for Sterling Marlin. He'll put the air cleaner back on as he sits here on pit road, and he will be down and away in just a few moments. The hood now goes down.
Racing all around this racetrack here at Darlington. Here's Rick Wilson as he's getting a challenge from Randy LaJoy. And the car number 20, the Finalube Chevrolet. They're going going by the car number 84, Robert Powell. Whoa, way up across the track, and LaJoie just keeps it out on the concrete. About to get him a Darlington strike there in turn 3.
I'll tell you, that was not the way you normally enter that turn, but he got him on the inside of Robert Powell, and I guess he just didn't have any other choice but to shoot it on down on the low side, but that shoots you right up straight towards that wall when you start into that turn. He did a great job.
He was headed to Timminsville. Looked like something dangling off the back of the car number 20, we're told. As you look out the front windshield of Mark Martin, you see something sort of flapping.
It's probably just a piece of rubber off the bumper, maybe, that holds them together. I don't believe it's anything that's going to be too harmful to it, as Mark Martin looked at.
Leaders are now working pretty heavy traffic. That's Joe Nemechek in the car number 87, going by Shauna Robinson. Behind him is the 34 of Todd Bodine, the Fiddle Faddle Chevrolet. Here's what happened a couple laps ago. Watch Michael Waltrip's car just wiggle. The rear of the car gets very loose up high. That's just the advantage that Todd Bodine needed. And Todd Bodine's car wiggles a little bit coming down off the banking. I think this track isn't tough to drive.
It is tough, no doubt about it. A couple of cars have gone by the wayside. We saw Jimmy Spencer slowing down. He's through. The engine has an engine problem on it, and Bill Elliott has taken the Budweiser Ford behind the wall as well. He has an engine problem with his car.
And Mark Martin has been able to get by Randy LaJoie. A lot of cars bobbing and weaving. Got to wonder how the tires are faring down there. Let's check in with the pits.
Well, Jerry, we're seeing a lot of worn tires, although the Goodyear tires have held up a little bit better than the left side of the Hoosier tires. And I want to clear up a point I made earlier on in the race about the limit to 2 tires per position. That is if you change tires only under caution. Under green, it doesn't matter. You can change as many times under green flag conditions and you're not penalized. So I just wanted to clear that up. They can change more than 2 sets of tires if they also change under green. Well, did that clear it up for you? It did for me.
Yeah, reasonably so, John. Yeah, they can, during the caution, as you say, they can change twice on each position. And maybe that's why Ken Schrader and Chad Little didn't change that first caution. I'm wondering now if they wish they had, though, but they still got two positions on each position, 2 tires in each position. John Kern's got me confused now. But anyway, that they have more tires than put on.
Well, let's show you where Mark Martin started. You know, he started 3rd. He's currently 7th. Why? Well, he had a pit stop. He had to come back in and clean the windshield. He led quite a bit early in the race. He's now being shown in 6th spot. He led 28 laps. And the Winn-Dixie Ford Thunderbird is making its way slowly and surely toward the front. That is Harry Gann's car number 7, the Ed Whittaker on French's Mustard-sponsored Chevrolet. And if you just joined us, John Kernan told you that Harry Gann's shifter has fallen over and is laying in a floorboard, which is not a problem on the racetrack. It's going to be a little tough when he makes a pit stop. And Gann gets passed rather easily by Mark Martin.
Yeah, he just moved down to the inside of the racetrack and let Mark go by on the outside. Didn't fight him. Here comes Ward Burton with those new tires on his Hardy's car, and he moves over as well to let him go. In the pits now is Chuck Bowen in the Nescafe car.
That's the pit work going on the 1990 Series champion. Joe Nemechek is our leader. Todd Bodine in 2nd. Michael Waltrip is 3rd. And this car number 2 pitted has fresh tires on. He's a lap down, but he is coming. Just goes to show you what fresh tires can do here at Darlington. 74 laps complete here in the Gatorade 200. Halfway through. Back with more after this. Stay with us. Today's Speed World coverage being brought to you by BF Goodrich TA Tires when you're ready to get serious. And by smooth Busch beer and easy drinking Busch Light. Busch, the official beer of NASCAR. Caution being waved for the 5th time today. Problems on the racetrack as they wave the caution flag for the 5th time, and a number of guys would love to see this caution flag come out. Joe Nemechek isn't one of them, as he's trying to hold off Todd Bodine as they come by and get the flag. And here's a guy who wanted to see that flag. He's been having some problems. Let's check in with Benny Parsons.
Well, Jerry, the car on the Robert Presley automobile is missing I went up to the crew chief, Ricky Pearson, and said, "You running okay?" He said, "No." He shook his head, "No." I said, "Is it missing?" He shook his head in the affirmative. So they've got a missing problem. Now, whether or not they can cure it on this caution flag, we'll have to find out. But he does have some engine problems, and they're talking, trying to figure out what they're going to do once they make that pit stop.
Yeah, Benny, I could hear him as he went by the start-finish line here, and you could tell that car was not running on more than 5 cylinders.
Maybe you could hope that it's possibly a spark plug wire vibrated off. Remember, we've already heard Sterling Marlin had a wire vibrate out of the coil, and it's pretty rough here. You looked on the in-car camera a little bit ago with Michael Waltrip and see the car vibrating that came off the corners. So possibly Robert Presley could catch a break and just have something simple like that and not anything more serious inside the engine. Under caution for the 5th time today here at Darlington, South Carolina. As a couple of cars make the entry on the pit road, here is Steve Grissom, the current Busch Series point leader. There's the Baby Ruth Ford of Jeff Burton. He comes down pit road, and Steve Grissom behind him in the Channel Lock Chevrolet.
Robert Presley coming in. No surprise, Jack Sprague is in, and Herman Sadler coming in. Now,
let's check in with Benny Parsons in the Robert Presley pit.
Jerry, you know they're concerned about a missing problem because they're not even changing tires. We've talked about how critical the tires are and good tires are. They haven't changed tires. They're looking under the hood. They're trying to find if all the spark plug wires are connected to the spark plugs. Evidently, that is the case because they aren't scrambling around trying to put one on. They're going to put the hood back down, and when Ricky Pearson gets back over here, I'll try to get a word with him to find out exactly what happened as Jeff Burton, the Baby Ruth car, goes by back on the racetrack.
I tell you, they have had engines that have been almost bulletproof over the years. Ben Barnes is the engine builder for that Alliance Training Center car. Car number 31. The Channel Lock Chevrolet coming back on the racetrack after getting a change of tires and a fill up with fuel. Under caution for the 5th time today under beautiful sunny skies in Darlington, South Carolina. Back after this.
Gave 10 hours for that picture.
Welcome back to Darlington, South Carolina. This is the face of Ricky Pearson, crew chief for Robert Presley, the Alliance Truck Training Centers. What's the matter with Robert's car, Ricky?
I don't know, Benny. You know, something's wrong with the motor. You know, the thing was running real well to start, then he come back and said the motor was missing. It's probably a valve spring or rocker arm or something like that.
You just got to keep running as long as it'll run.
Oh, yeah, we're going to do that, you know, win this points chase, and we're just going to see what happens.
But you don't have really, there's no chance of winning.
No, I don't think so, not today.
All right, Robert Presley going to try to finish. Let's figure out who's going to win this thing, guys.
Well, 80 laps complete. Robert Presley being shown back in 19th position right behind Chad Little. And it'll be 67 laps to go in a 200-mile event.
There are 22 cars remaining on the lead lap as we get ready for a restart here. And, of course, the leader is Joe Nemechek. Second is Todd Bodine. Third is Michael Waltrip. Mark Martin is fourth, and Rick Wilson fifth.
Mark Martin has come all the way from the rear of the field after making a couple of stops. One to clean the windshield as the green flag waves again. And Joe Nemechek trying to get his first win in 1993.
We saw Harry Kent fan out to the inside of the racetrack, and there was the first showing of that transmission problem he had. He had to take off and just couldn't take off very quick, so a lot of cars got by him on the start of the race, on the restart.
There's Tim Peter with the car number 55. Rick Wilson is in the 75. Coming up to full speed, approaching 150 miles per hour.
Martin trying to take over third. He doesn't.
Mark Martin slides beneath the car of Michael Waltrip, the Pennzoil Pontiac.
Now, none of these cars pitted during this last caution. They've changed tires one time, but they wanted to save that other set of tires they have that they can change during a caution for a little bit later in the race.
Riding with Michael Waltrip, the defending champion of this event. As he watches Mark Martin pull away by a few car lengths. Look at this battle back in the pack, 3 wide as they scramble toward turn 1.
Green and the Bobby Labonte owned Slim Jim car. He slides up in turn 1 there. He got a couple of cars coming off of turn 4, but he went turn 1 pretty hard, and a couple more got by.
There's Jeff Burton in the car number 8, the Baby Ruth Ford. Behind him is Tracy Leslie. Right in front of Burton Car number 22, that's Ed Barrier, the Embers Charcoal-sponsored Oldsmobile. Burton being shown now in the 12th position as he goes by Ed Barrier, who's having a great run. Barrier was being shown in 12th, now it's the 13th spot as both Burton and Tracy Leslie go by.
Well, Barrier was black flagged, remember, way back in the race, but a caution came out. He did not lose a lap, and so he has stayed on the lead lap, still having a good run. And here's Schrader moving around the Michael Walker car. Now, Schrader is being shown as a lap down. He just continued to go back with that old set of tires, but he came in this last caution and put new tires on his Chevrolet, so he is on the move again.
And Rick Wilson has come into contact a little bit with the concrete retaining wall in the Charlie Henderson-owned car number 75, the Busch Country USA Oldsmobile. Obviously, he's cut a tire down on the right side, a little bit of sheet metal damage on the right side of that Oldsmobile. Now, pardon me, it's a Chevrolet they have here at Darlington. Was running in the top 5. Here again's what happened.
And it looks like Ward Burton and the Hardy Chevrolet gets on the inside of him, and they make contact. Rick tries to save it, but just simply can't do it. He slams it up into the wall, knocks the toe in off. We can see that it was towed out, as a matter of fact, as he was coming towards us there a moment ago. So steering really messed up on that car. That'll probably be all for him today.
And Rick was having a great run in that car, a two-time winner in Busch competition. Look at this, 3 wide. Sterling Marlin in the car number 48. Grissom is right behind it, and Jeff Burton just squeezes on the inside of Sterling Marlin. Jimmy Bound in the car number 98. That is Bound in 98. Burton, car number 8. Now Grissom is the blue car. He is car number 31. He's your point leader.
He's getting passed by Chad Little, trying to make it 3 abreast. That's not the place to do it. And so they finally get single file. Car number 72 is Tracy Leslie.
Good run for Jimmy Bound. He's the white car coming right at you. Car number 98 currently being shown in the top 10. He's in 9th position. Taking the 10th spot away is Tracy Leslie in the car number 72, the Detroit Gasket Ron Parker owned car. Here comes car number 31 on the move.
Steve Grissom now, he's trying to move on the inside of the car 72 going into turn 3 as we watch them come off of turn 4 now. The 72 trying to get on the inside of Jim Bound, but Bound holding the groove. Ooh, he gets
contact. Tracy Leslie apparently tagging the rear of Jimmy Bound's car, and Bound's car just slams the outside wall, comes all the way across and tags the inside wall. What a tough break for Jim Bound. Here's a young man trying to run everything on his own. As you watch the field now being given the caution flag for the 6th time today. But Jim Bound was having a great run. He had 1 engine left. He blew it. He had 2 engines. He blew one at Bristol, Tennessee. He had 1 engine left. It's a short track motor. He put that 1 engine in. He changed the springs. He builds the car. He maintains it himself. And he might just have gotten a little bit loose, but he gets tagged there as the car slips a little bit. Leslie just avoids getting hit as he comes across and smacks the inside concrete retaining wall. And oh, what a tough break. Looks like Jimmy Bound is going to be out of business. That's the only race car he had and the only engine he had, a different angle once again, Dan.
I believe that Tracy might have touched him just a little bit as he came off of the turn, and then when Jim Bound tried to straighten it out, touched him again, and of course he was out of control and slams the inside retaining wall.
And Jim Bound is okay. Jimmy Bound's okay. Talk about doing a lot with very little. He has certainly done. Here are pit stops as the leaders head down pit road, and our guys will be standing by to call those stops. Here is John Nemechek. And Michael Walton's coming in. Here's John Kernan.
Michael Walton's in for a 4-tire change, but the real problem, 285 degrees is what the water temperature is reading. A lot of rubber buildup on the front grille. They've wiped it off. Now they're spraying water into the car, trying to cool off the Pennzoil Pontiac as they go to work on the left side. Now let's go down to Benny Parsons, who's in Joe Nemechek's pit.
Well, they changed the right sides on the B-Team Chevrolet. They're on the left sides now. The left side's coming off. Brand new tires going on. Fella picks up the wrench. Here comes Mark Martin. He's going to win the race. Mark Martin goes out. Goes out second. Let's see. The next car out is going to be Michael Waltrip. Then it's Todd Bodine. And other guys are still changing tires.
We're under caution for the 6th time today for Jimmy Bound's spin here in the front straightaway. Back with more Busch Grand National Racing from Darlington after this. Back at Darlington Raceway under caution for the 6th time today. The top 5 cars a moment ago had been on pit road. You see when they came back out.
And we see Michael Waltrip is out. He has pulled the Pennzoil Pontiac out of the race behind the wall with those overheating problems that John Kernan talked about. We're about ready to go green flag racing, Jerry.
And Harry Gant is being shown as the leader up front.
Remember, he has a problem on restarts, and he has pulled the car down to the inside. That's the yellow car way down on the inside. He's lost a lot of position. The car just simply won't come up to speed because he can't change the gears. It's in 4th gear.
Has to leave it in 4th gear and let the cars go by. Pretty helpless feeling out there for Harry Gant. That's Ken Schrader in the car number 52 there up front. He was showing us a lap down a little bit ago.
Yeah, he's back in the lead lap. Now, he had almost caught Joe Nemechek before this caution came out to get back in the lead lap, but didn't quite do it. But now, if he can stay out there and get another caution, remember, he still has another set of tires that he can put on during a caution without penalty, and that just might work to his advantage near the end.
Here's Mark Martin in the car number 60 and Joe Nemechek as they go by the Sterling Marlin car number 48. Fresh tires making so much of a difference here at Darlington. Remember, we showed you the top 5 cars pitted and put on some fresh Goodyear rubber. Is now Mark Martin thanks better of it. That's Tim Fedewa in the car number 55. Whoa, Todd Bodine not backing off a bit. He really slides into the side of a car there.
And now Steve Grissom is shown as the leader in the channel lock entry. He is out in front of Chad Little, just taking over 2nd. That's the black car there. Has just passed Tracy Leslie for the 2nd position, moves Leslie back to 3rd. The car number 97 is being shown in 4th place, Joe Bessie of the Alton Ellis Pontiac.
Knifing up through the traffic. Here's Joe Nemechek in the lane 3 wide, trying to go downstairs. Mark Martin is in the middle. Nemechek slides up. That was Perry Labonte in the NW Windows Chevrolet, the number 14 car they went by. Labonte backed out and gave Martin somewhere to go. There's Mark Martin sawing that steering wheel. Heavy traffic. The car number 6 is Tommy Houston. 87 is Nemechek. The 34, that's Todd Bodine. As Bodine slides up again, almost into Mark Martin. Martin backs out. They slide beneath Tommy Houston out of turn 4. You talk about racing. It's everywhere here at Darlington.
Mentioned Perry Labonte, the white car there. He is being shown 2 laps down back in 28th position, and Tommy Houston is being shown 1 lap down back in 21st position.
He'll have come within about 10 inches of that concrete wall out of turn 2 as our camera rotates as the field comes by. You see Mark Martin once again doing battle with Todd Bodine, and Bodine is up high in the car number 34, last week's winner. Looking from the in-car camera, get a good look at Todd Bodine, who will be a Winston Cup competitor next year, already running for Butch Mock as they are door to door down in turn 1.
Martin still just cannot move around him. Going into turn 3, they've caught up to, is that Joe Nemechek? No, that's the car number 63 of Chuck Bound.
That's Chuck now right in front of him. Little Faddle Chevrolet, Winn-Dixie Ford. Inches apart at 155 miles an hour here in the front stretch. That is the Nescafe Nestea car in front of him with Chuck Bound. And now Martin finally gets an advantage.
Bound being shown 2 laps down in the 26th position. He made a green flag pit stop a while back.
These cars are battling for 6th and 7th. The car number 60 in 6th position, the 34 in 7th spot. There's the Baby Ruth car number 8. Bill Bartoski on machine. Jeff Burton. He was being shown in the 8th position. He goes beneath Chuck Bound and now tries to make a move beneath Terry Labonte. Our race summary, AutoZone race summary, Steve Grissom is our leader. Has led 7 of 102 laps. There have been 6 cautions for 25 laps. 7 different leaders, 8 lead changes. The average speed 109.973 miles per hour. Lap leaders: Mark Martin, Joe Nemechek, Harry Gant, Ward Burton, Steve Grissom, Ken Schrader, and Michael Waltrip. Out of the race, Lassiter, Payne, Earnhardt, who had a transmission problem, Jimmy Spencer, Bill Elliott, Jimmy Bound, and Michael Waltrip, the latest to retire just moments ago.
Nemechek going on the inside of Ward Burton. That's not for position, just track position. Nemechek is in 3rd position. Ward Burton, as we mentioned earlier, he's 2 laps down. Leading to 24th.
There's your leader, the car number 31, Steve Grissom, in the Channel Lock Chevrolet. Let's check in the pits with Benny.
You know, if John Kernan didn't confuse you nothing about tires, or Ned, I'm going to try to confuse you some more. Joe Nemechek, he has changed all the tires that he can change on the caution flag. He has to finish the race on the tires he has, unless he wants to put on the green flag, and that's just a little bit more than 40 laps. At the end of this race, his tires is going to be well worn. He's going to be really slipping and sliding. If there's not a caution flag, great strategy. But some of the cars that still have one more set of tires to change, they get a caution flag with 20 laps to go. When they put on those fresh tires, they are going to be the cars to beat. Right now, Joe Nemechek, the crew, they decided to gamble. There would be no more caution flag. They changed all the tires they can on the caution flag. Other guys still have that set left. They will be tough. Who's going to win? The guessing war, man.
Yeah, it really is. And you can see some of those that has those fresh tires. Mark Martin, of course, used up all of his tires. So did the car number 34, Todd Bodine. Now, I'm not sure about Chad Little. I know he didn't put on a set the very first time. He and Ken Schrader didn't, so he might have a set left that he can put on during the caution.
And here's the battle for 2nd and 3rd, but it's heating up in a hurry because right behind him at the top of your screen, Mark Martin is coming in a hurry. Let's check in the pits, John.
Chad Little, who's running 2nd right now, does have another set of tires available to the team if precaution should come out. Fred Wonky, his crew chief, told me he think they messed up when they didn't pit the first time everyone else did. But I said, you know, if the cautions come out right, it could turn out to be to your advantage. And right now, they're a team that if the caution comes out, hey, they'll come in, change tires. Otherwise, they will finish the race on the tires that they have on the car.
John, Mark Martin has been able to go by Chad Little in car number 23. That's Martin in the car number 60 as he now begins to move in on Joe Nemechek in 2nd place car. Tommy Houston trying to unlap himself. He's in the Rose's Stores 4, the car number 6, right behind our leader, Steve Grissom. Here is Todd Bodine in the car number 34, moving by Chad Little.
Tommy Houston being shown 3 laps down. He made a green flag pit stop a while back.
And bobbing and weaving, wobbling a little bit coming out of the turn. Mark Martin trying to hang on to the position. He is currently in the 3rd spot as laps are winding down here at Darlington, South Carolina. Lots of youngsters enjoying the race. Hope you are. The Gatorade 200, 109 laps complete. Back with more from Darlington after this. Raceway for the Gatorade 200. The closing laps here as Joe Nemechek trying to work to the inside of Mark Martin. Nemechek in the car number 87. And the car number 31, a little bit of smoke looks like coming out of the car. Is it tire smoke? Is it engine smoke? Whatever, it's slowed down a little bit as Mark Martin moves to the inside of our leader and will take the lead.
Martin just passed Nemechek the last lap around in turns 3 and 4. And now moves around Steve Grissom and has kept the lead once again as Todd Bodine comes up and takes over 3rd from Nemechek. So Mark Martin the leader, Steve Grissom is 2nd, Todd Bodine is 3rd. Nemechek now in the 4th position. The car number 23 of Chad Little being shown in 5th.
And the car number 30 we mentioned has had a problem, is not running up to par. Let's check in and see what the problem is.
There were reports of smoke from the 31 car, Jerry, and I checked in with the crew. They say they believe a tire could be rubbing. All the gauges, the water temperature, the oil temperature, all of those gauges are okay. They really don't know what the problem is right now, but they're hoping it's just a fender rubbing a tire causing a little bit of smoke.
Loses another position as Todd Bodine goes by down on the inside, takes over second. Grissom now drops back to third.
And we were told Harry Gant has decided to pull that car down behind the wall. Tough break for the Ed Whitaker French's Mustard team. Car number 31, the point leader. Cadillac Chevrolet once being shown as a leader. He would like to be able to hang on as Joe Nemechek decides to go high, go low, then decides to stay low and go by the Steve Grissom car.
Jerry talked about the points. Davey Green in the Slim Jim Chevrolet is still out there running. Haven't seen a great deal of him today, but he's being shown in 15th position, still in the lead lap. As a matter of fact, there are 18 cars being shown in the lead lap.
Mark Martin has worked his way from shotgun, tail of the field, all the way back up front. After a couple of pit stops early on, an unscheduled stop to clean some oil off his windshield. He had to go all the way to the rear, working his way through traffic. Made another pit stop during the last caution flag. Had to come back from 11th position, but is now back up front. That is Kenny Schrader. He is easing up on in the car number 52. Schrader being shown in 18th spot.
So now there will be 17 cars on the lead lap once Mark Martin makes this pass, if he does, and it looks like he will. Schrader's tires are getting old again, but he is one of those drivers who has a set of tires that he can change during a caution. He needed for the caution to come out about 2 laps ago, though, because now he's a lap down.
Mark Martin looking for win number 4 in 1993. He has 10 career Busch Grand National victories, 5 of them coming on the super speedways. The Winn-Dixie Ford Thunderbird showing the way here in the late laps at Darlington, South Carolina. Glad to have you with us for the Gatorade 200. More after this. Stay with us. And we welcome you back to Darlington Raceway in Darlington, South Carolina. Beautiful day for racing. Hope you're enjoying the action. NASCAR Busch Grand National style. It's Mark Martin in the Winn-Dixie Ford Thunderbird, the hottest driver in August. Showing the way up front here at Darlington in the Gatorade 200. There's a look outside the driver's window. Mark Martin, 3 wins this season, Rockingham, Richmond, and his last victory coming right here on ESPN at Michigan.
And this car number 34, Todd Bodine, has slowed, Jerry. He had moved up into second place, but now the car is off the pace a little bit, not too much, but 3 cars have gotten by. Nemechek got by him, and so did Steve Grissom and Chad Little. So don't know what his problem is. Looks like he's going okay there right now. Now he's down on the inside. You can see as Kenny Schrader goes by, and now Chad Little moves ahead of Steve Grissom, takes over the 3rd position.
Gotta wonder if maybe the tires are going away on Todd Bodine's Fiddle Faddle Chevrolet. A lot of speculation. We talked at Bristol about who may drive that car. I understand that they're looking awfully strong at the 88 Western Racing Series Modified Champion, Mike McLaughlin, possibly to go in that car next year. Let's check in the pits with Benny and see what the problem is on Todd Bodine. Benny?
Guys, this is a new one. This is one we don't normally report. We normally come from with a pit. They say the fuel pump is malfunctioning, that the fuel pressure is fluctuating up and down. How many times do you see a fuel pump go bad? Very, very seldom. Meanwhile, Hermie Sadler's brought the Virginia's for Lovers Oldsmobile in the pits. He is smoking or looking under the hood, trying to figure out what the problem is, and they're still looking. They may never figure it out. Back to you.
Benny, I bet what the problem is, it looks like there's some steam or smoke coming from the car, perhaps overheating. Michael Waltrip has already parked his car because of overheating. There's a lot of rubber. We talked about the tire wear that they have here. A lot of rubber gets ground off of these tires. It's picked up many times, put into the grill of the cars, and that causes overheating problems. We'll see a lot more of it tomorrow in the Mountain Dew Southern Tire Main.
We showed you the point standings at the beginning of the telecast. Todd Bodine, the car number 34, was 9th, and Hermie Sadler, the car you just saw on pit road, the last 2 cars we've said had trouble, was 10th in the points. So the 9th and 10th place in the point standings having some trouble.
Now here's Mark Martin just about to lap Robert Presley. He's the last car on the lead lap. Presley being shown in the 16th position.
Now we're going to show you a car that's really moving well on the racetrack. That's the car number 20. That's Randy LaJoie driving the Dick Moroso on machine. LaJoie in only his third Busch start of the 1993 season. What an outing he had as beginner. He finished second at Talladega to Dale Earnhardt. He started 24th today. He's currently 6th. He was up to 5th on lap 91. He was all the way back to 25th on the first lap where he lost his spot on the start. Hasn't led a lap, but he's coming in a hurry. Randy LaJoie. What a likable young man. Driving the car number 20 out of Norwalk, Connecticut. 32 years of age, the Vinaloop Chevrolet. Here's the man they're chasing. That's Mark Martin up front in the Winn-Dixie Ford. 22 laps to go. Here, 147 laps make up at 200 miles in this Gatorade 200.
Mark Martin continues to pull away. Jerry has about a 7-second lead now over the second-place car of Joe Nemechek.
Here's the car number 23. That is Chad Little. Having a great run here. Little best finish a second at Dover, Delaware to Todd Bodine. This is the car that's owned by Greg Pollux and Washington Redskins quarterback Mark Rippon. Co-owners in this car number 23, the Bayer Select Ford.
A couple of cars coming down pit road. Jeff Burton and Todd Bodine. Let me correct myself. Mark Martin is not 7 seconds ahead. He's only a little over 2 seconds ahead of Joe Nemechek.
Looks like Jeff Burton may have slapped the wall. The right side of the car number 8, the Baby Ruth Ford, has some damage, right, Benny?
Jerry, I can't see it. I'm on the inside of pit wall. I'm looking at the left side. It is beautiful, but unfortunately, he must have had a problem on the right side. He had to make a fist, but yeah, I can see the wheels now. He has slapped the concrete with the right side of the Baby Ruth Ford.
They bent the wrapper on that one, that's for sure. Looks like he hit it pretty hard, Ned.
Yeah, you can see it's flattened up quite a bit there on the right side.
As Jeff Burton heads back on the racing action, laps are winding down here at Darlington, South Carolina, as Mark Martin and the Winn-Dixie Ford Thunderbird are trying to hold on and pick up win number 4 for 1993. Back with more from the Gatorade 200 at Darlington after this.
Welcome back to Darlington, South Carolina, the Gatorade 200. And here is Miss Darlington. And you're right, I'm 6 feet tall, and you're how tall?
6'2".
6'2".
Yes, sir.
I can't wait till Mark Martin wins this race. He's going to be about right here on this lovely thing.
I tell you what, she's beautiful, 6'2". I thought Benny was standing in a hole for a minute, but she's a lovely young lady. There's Mark Martin as he's trying to hang on and win that race and go to, you know, if you win the race, you get to go to victory lane and see the Queen. Now, Benny's standing there with the Queen. Benny hasn't won a thing today. But anyway, Mark Martin in the Winn-Dixie Ford Thunderbird. He's done it the hard way with 16 laps to go. He's been at the back of the field twice today, once by virtue of a pit stop and once by virtue of a problem with oil in the windshield. Now, Mark's running awfully well, but a car that may be the quickest on the racetrack is the car number 20, the Vinaloop Chevrolet, and Ned, looks like he's gaining some ground.
Yes, he is. He's picking up on Steve Grissom, who is running in 4th place. Randy LaJoie has now moved into the top 5. He's on the scoreboard here in the Vinaloop car. The car looks like it's working very well through the turns, and boy, that's the key this late in the race.
Dick Myers, the crew chief on that car. It's a Bob Rinaldi engine, and if anybody knows anything about Moroso racing, they realize that Bob Rinaldi can put the power to him. And Randy LaJoie, what a nice, likable young man. Needed a break and finally got a chance to drive for Dick Moroso, and boy, what a job he did at Talladega. Impressive performance down there. Back at the end of July, finishing second on his first Busch start. Had problems last week at Bristol. They were swept up in an accident early in that race and didn't finish the second start. This will be his 3rd Busch start of the season. He is in turn 3, the leader now coming down the front straightaway. So about a 1/3 of a lap differential between where LaJoie is and Mark Martin.
But Jerry, we're down now. We only have 12 cars in the lead lap. That's a lot of cars in the lead lap, but for a long time we had upwards of 20 cars in the lead lap, but some of those front runners, as we've documented, have made pit stops, and the last car on the lead lap right now in 12th place is the Slim Jim Chevrolet of David Green.
13 laps to go. Ned, when you're a driver, do you get into a rhythm like Mark Martin has gotten in August where you can do no wrong?
sometimes you do get in a position in your career to where, my goodness, why didn't this happen before, as LaJoie takes over the 4th position from Steve Grissom. But sometimes you wonder what has caused it. Mark Martin has said publicly, we aren't doing anything different than what we've done all year long. We ran good all year long. We just couldn't get things to work out so that we could win. Now they're working out. He's visiting Victory Lane.
And here's Hermie Sadler, who had an unscheduled pit stop a minute ago, the car number 25. But the car number 20 is chasing down this group here. 12 laps to go. Going to come back with the exciting finish from right here. Dixie colors coming right at you with 11 laps to go. That's the leader, Mark Martin, running in second spot. Joe Nemechek, third. Chad Little in fourth position, car number 20. That's Randy LaJoie.
Steve Grissom in 5th place. The light blue car is Steve Grissom on the right of your screen, and the other blue car out on the left of your screen is the car number 20 of Randy LaJoie. Of course, they had a blue car in between them there that they were just putting a lap on.
Got to believe Steve Grissom may just be running out of tires. That the car giving up a little bit in the current point leader, but if he can get a good top 5 finish, he can hang on to his lead and extend it just a little bit. His nearest pursuer is in 12th position. Car number 44 is shown back in the 12th spot. That is David Green.
And the car number 20, Randy LaJoie, gaining on the 3rd place car of Chad Little. Boy, he's gaining on every turn. So Chad Little's tires are definitely older than those on the car number 20, but they have that car hooked up right now, the Randy LaJoie car, and he is one of the fastest car on the track.
That's Chad Little, left of your screen. LaJoie was on the right. Our pole sitter, Ricky Craven, had a great run in the DuPont Automotive finish. His Chevrolet made an announcement this morning. He'll be back next year with DuPont with his own race team. He is battling for the 9th position. 8th to 9th.
That's the car number 9 there is Mike Wallace having a good run here today. He is being shown in the 8th position. And there's Rick Mast in the Skull Classic car 0. Rick running a limited schedule in this series. Used to run all the races.
That's Rick's 4th start of the year. Here's the car number 20 working on Chad Little. LaJoie and Little, that's a battle for 3rd spot. If Randy LaJoie will take the spot away, Chad Little flies it back on the inside. Can't quite get the car to stick. Laps winding down, and Randy LaJoie is a man on a mission. Right now, he has moved from about 9th position all the way into 3rd spot, and will set his sights on Joe Nemechek with 8 laps to go.
And we'll make mention again that Todd Bodine in the fiddle paddle car has slowed down. He was running 2nd, and then he started having that fuel pressure problem, and he's still out there running at much reduced speed. In fact, he's dropped back to the 23rd position right now, 22nd position.
That's your 3rd and 4th place cars there. The car number 20, Randy LaJoie in 3rd. 4th place is Chad Little. Let's see who the leader is. That's Mark Martin. There he comes out of turn 4.
And then comes Joe Nemechek. Nemechek has closed in a little bit. He's about 1 8/10 seconds behind Martin. Martin had pulled out to about a 2.6 second lead, but Nemechek has closed it up a little bit.
Would not be a race record. The record over 138. Average speed right now a little over 118, due primarily to the 6 caution flags we have had today.
There'll be 5 laps to go when they come by the start-finish line this time. I'm going to put this unofficial stopwatch on Mark Martin again. There he is, and here is the Nemechek car, still 1 8/10 seconds. Didn't pick up anything that lap.
Mark Martin looking for his 11th career Busch win.
Again, moving on a little bit of traffic now. There he is on the car number 57, Jason Keller car. That car being shown in 17th position.
Moving up on the car number 84, that is Robert Powell out of Moncks Corner, South Carolina. Winston Racing Series national champion.
And yellow flag.
Caution as a lot of smoke comes out of it. Looks like Robert Presley's car number 59.
Yep, finally just gave up on him. Presley has been riding on 5 cylinders for quite a while, and apparently some parts got mixed up there. And
Mark Martin not slowing down too much, realizing this could be, the race may not be able to get restarted. There's Martin, and Nemechek is coming in a hurry up in turns 3 and 4. As Martin now sees Nemechek coming and speeds the car back up a little bit as they head down to take the yellow flag, and he will take the caution flag. So that could really make it interesting if we're able to get this race restarted. And car number 20 that was coming will be right up behind the front 2 cars.
he was gaining on Jerry. He was gaining on the first and second place cars, so he was the fastest car on the track, so it will be interesting.
Mark Martin having his hand out the window to try to divert a little bit of air inside the car.
We saw Martin get out of the car at Bristol after he won in the Winston Cup race last Saturday night, and he told me yesterday, he said, I wasn't physically tired, but he could hardly talk to you. He said, I couldn't get my breath. Of course, the situation is on those short tracks, there's so much carbon monoxide that stays down in there, and breathing that air, I think, was the situation for him.
He looked like he was so weak, and we went ahead and let him sit down there and catch his breath when we talked about the great run he had, and we knew he wanted to talk, but he didn't have the energy to talk. So 1 to go. It's going to be a shootout. We're going to see if can Mark Martin hang on. What about Joe Nemechek or possibly Randy LaJoie? And Steve Meal is standing by with our John Kernan.
Steve, it looks like the race is probably over. Going to complete a couple more laps under caution. You guys really did a great job. Mark, a great job driving that car after getting behind early on.
Yeah, Mark did great. They just give us 1 to go. They're going to throw the white and the green at the same time, so we still got to hold off the 87. He's pretty stout on cold tires. We'll just have to see if we can keep him behind us.
What about the 20 car, Randy LaJoie? He looks pretty strong right now.
Yeah, it'd be hard for him to get by the 87. The 87's the man we're worried about right now, and on cold tires, he's been better than us, so we're a little bit nervous, but we're sure Mark will carry us through.
That was Steve Meal, the crew chief on the Winston Cup car for Mark Martin, and also crewing on the Roush-owned Busch Grand National car. Pontiac safety car makes a hard left over in turn 3. It'll be green and white flag the first time by, the checker the next time by. Can Mark Martin hang on for his 4th win? Joe Nemechek, the defending series champion, looking for his first Busch Grand National win in 1993. And what about Randy LaJoie? In only his 3rd Busch start, he has a shot.
Well, here they go. The white and the green is waving. And look at LaJoie. He pulled up in the middle and got around Nemechek.
Randy LaJoie has got less than a mile and a half to catch Mark Martin. He's on the bottom of the racetrack. Right foot to the floor. Throttle wide open as they come off a turn 2 and flatten out 1,228 feet. Mark Martin leads away. 6 car lengths back to LaJoie. And Joe Nemechek, who's caught back behind some cars, has lost the 4th spot to Chad Little. Coming out of turn 4, it'll be checkered flag this time by. Can Mark Martin hold on? 5 car lengths, 4 car lengths, and Martin will take the victory. Randy LaJoie finishes 2nd, and looks like
Chad Little 3rd.
Chad Little finishes 3rd, and Nemechek, who had trouble in that restart.
Yeah, he really got off to a bad start. Don't know what the problem was, Jerry, but he lost a couple of positions.
Mark Martin has come from the back to the front to win his 4th in 1993. We'll be back to talk to the winner of the Gatorade 200 after this. Back with more from Darlington. Our Speedwell coverage has been brought to you by Gatorade Thirst Quencher. Nothing quenches that deep down body thirst better than Gatorade. By Valvoline. People who know use Valvoline. And by Allied Signals Autolite Spark Plugs. Guaranteed for 2 years, no matter how far you go. Let's check in down in our BF Goodrich Winner's Circle with Benny Parsons.
Jerry, can anyone stop this guy, Mark Martin? 4 times you won a Busch race this year, and what's this, 5 races in a row you've won?
Well, it's going great. I tell you, Benny, we just can't seem to do anything wrong right now. We're able to recover from all kinds of stuff. So, you know, the Goodyear tires work good today, and this Winn-Dixie car's been this fast most every race, but we hadn't finished many, I guess 4 this year. And so, you know, it's super if I can not wreck it or not break it.
Well, Mark, I want to introduce you to Miss Southern 500, Cindy Lewis. Cindy, come on and say congratulations to Mark. What do you think, Mark?
Pretty tall.
Pretty tall. John Kernan is with Randy LaJoie.
Well, Randy, you know, we haven't seen a whole lot of you this year on the Busch Grand National Circuit, but from what we've seen, it's very impressive. His second place finish today. You guys were flying at the end of the race.
We did. Moroso, Fina, Crystal Springs Water, Bluebird Juice, they put a good race car under me today. And I'm glad Moroso gave me a chance to prove that I can drive one of these race cars. And I got to thank all these guys. Kept my nose clean all day. We had a bad stop there at the end. I think if we didn't have that bad stop, we could have given something. I was saving some towards the end, but I had to show what I had the last 15 laps.
What about next year? Is this going to lead on to full-time in the Busch circuit next year? How's that going to work out?
Well, I do believe this is going to be a full-time deal next year. It's pretty close to signing, I heard, for the Busch car. I'm really looking forward to it. Hopefully we can get this Fina Moroso Crystal Springs car up in the front next year. We'll go for the championship.
So Randy LaJoie finds second place finish today, Jerry.
John, what a Cinderella run for the young man from Connecticut. As you take a look at our top 10 results, what an effort by Randy LaJoie. Started 24th and finished in second spot. And that is second runner-up start in just 3 races.
That team is impressive. He's fitting in very well with them.
Outstanding effort today. Ricky Craven, our pole sitter, getting a top 10 finish. Here again, having trouble late in the race. Dale Earnhardt finishes 40th. The point standings right now in Busch competition. Steve Grissom, David Green, Joe Nemechek, Robert Presley, and Ricky Craven moves into the top 5 with that top 10 finish today. Once again, we congratulate Mark Martin on winning his 4th the 1993 season. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock, the 43rd annual Mountain Dew Southern 500 coming your way live, flag-to-flag coverage, and Mark Martin will be starting 4th in the Valvoline Ford. For John Kernan, Benny Parsons, and Ned Jarrett, I'm Jerry Pudge, once again congratulating Mark Martin and saying so long from Darlington.